Hi everyone. Today I am excited to unbox, set up, and review the new Sofabaton X1 smart remote. Sofabaton did reach out to me and ask me if I would review the X1 smart remote and give my honest feedback and opinions. As many of you probably know, Logitech's Harmony has been retired. It no longer exists. And so is this the new remote that can replace that? We'll find out. And now that Logitech Harmony has discontinued their line, let's see if Sofabaton X1 can fill that gap. So without further ado, let's get at it and do the unboxing. All right, let's have a quick look at the box. This is how it came in the mail with a brown paper box wrapped around it, of course. Let's go ahead and get at opening it up and see what this looks like. Okay, instructions right on top. Looks like QR code to download the app. Also a QR code. All right, I'll look at that later. And right off the bat, we get the remote, which looks pretty nice actually. It's got a nice look to it. Comes with this nice screen protector on it so far. Feels nice in the hand. Buttons feel good. The arrow buttons feel good. This is the tactical button, and looks like the back and on and off is up there. Looks like so far it's kind of a far reach to get up there. Like if I'm down here where I would normally be here, maybe hit the activity, now I want to navigate around, I want to go back. Kind of got to reach up there a little bit, but maybe that's just my hands. We'll see how this goes. All right, so that's the remote. Let's see what else we have in the box. Just about what's in the box and some contact information. And then we have a couple of USB-C cables in here. That looks like a USB charging block. And looks like some infrared cables that can extend out to reach other areas. And of course, looks like we have the hub itself right here. So far, the packaging looks really nice. Pretty well done. Oh yeah, nice shiny black, that piano black stuff that, yeah, get your fingerprints on. Kind of like the Harmony, Logitech Harmony hub is like that too. But once you get it into a place, I'm sure it's going to be just fine. All right, well, let's take a look at doing the setup now. That's the unboxing. Let's take a look at the setup and see how that goes. Okay, first, let's talk about my setup and how I'm thinking about using this remote. Sofabaton claims this is an easy setup, and I'm about to find out. I'm gonna be using the remote control to control my TV, my Pioneer receiver, and my Apple TV 4K Gen 2 as all the devices that I'm going to set up and configure for this. The Sofabaton X1 supports a wide range of devices, and the setup is done through their user-friendly app. So I'll guide you through those steps as I experience them. First thing I noticed was the remote was completely dead out of the box, so we gotta get this thing charged up so we can start using it. So I got the USB-C plugged into it here in the bottom and got their power block plugged in there. So let's get it just plugged in over here and get it charging up so we can have some charge in this thing to get it going. While the remote is charging, kind of over there on the floor, let's talk about the setup a little bit more now that we can see it. So we have the Sony 65-inch TV that we're gonna set up. We have the Apple TV 4K, and I have my Pioneer stereo system down here that we're going to plug into. I'm hoping that I can also control some of my lights so that when I turn on an activity, it'll also turn on some of my smart home lights as well. I do have Lutron Caseta and I have Philips Hue. So we'll see which lights we can actually connect to through their APIs and interfaces in order to control those and set up the scene the way I want to when I turn on the TV activity. Also, you can see I have sitting on top of the Apple 4K TV, I have the Logitech Harmony hub that I've been using for years and works perfectly fine. I do have that connected to an infrared receiver that I have setting right down here in my cabinet that seems to work fine and reflects up through here and controls all the devices that are infrared. So I'm hoping that we can get the same results out of the Sofabaton X1. While we're waiting for the remote to get a little charge in it, we're gonna go ahead and plug this thing in. So we've got one of the infrared cables plugged in and the USB power supply. So let's go ahead and get that set up over here. Probably set it up right next to the Harmony hub and Apple TV right there, so that it's in comparison to like how the infrared works and things like that. Get this set up in there. Right about there, I think. Okay, I put the infrared sensor right here since that's really the infrared device that I'm going to be controlling. The rest of this is going to be the Apple 4K TV is going to be Bluetooth, and the Sofabaton hub should be able to control the IR for anything that's out here. So we got that plugged in, I got the blue light turned on. Gonna go look at the instructions some more, see what's the next step as the remote is continuing to charge. Here's my old Harmony remote, Universal Remote, that basically controls everything I want it to, including my smart home. And here it is in comparison to the new Sofabaton X1. I do like the feel of the Sofabaton. It does feel like a premium feel. It feels nice in the hand, but I think it's gonna be hard to compete, honestly, with this, where I just have everything I need right at my thumb and not having to reach up high and things like that. We'll see how this goes though. We'll give it a fair review. Okay, let's look at the instructions and see what we have to do here. Set up, download the Sofabaton app. Haven't done that yet. I guess we should probably do that first, huh? All right, let's get that done. I have an iPhone 13 Pro. Okay, now that that has been downloaded and we're opening it up, we're going to register our new account. All right, we have the X series and we want to set up a new hub connected to power. We kind of did that one already. Press and hold the button on the hub for 3 seconds to allow the Bluetooth connection until it's blinking. All right, let's go do that. Button is right there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, blue light is blinking. The blue indicator of the hub is blinking. Click next. Sofabaton would like to use your Bluetooth. Yes. Wants to connect to your Wi-Fi. Yes. Provision. Okay, provision. Interesting word. Looks like this light turned to a green light now. Done. Device information. Looks like I could rename it. I'm going to leave it just as it is with X1 Hub for now. I'm assuming I can rename that later if I want. No devices available. Click to add. So this should be pretty intuitive, right? Let's click to add. We're going to connect to our Apple TV. So Air TV, Apple, Air TV, Apple. Downloading something, probably some sort of driver, I'm guessing at this point. Use the original remote control to pair the device with Sofabaton via Bluetooth. Okay. Wasn't expecting it to have to require the remote. Okay. Sofabaton 4F92. Okay, sure. Let's connect to that. Keyboard connected. It says up there in the upper right hand corner. And now I'm getting a complete on the screen. Great, that wasn't too hard. Let's go ahead and connect our Sony TV. So we have a Sony 65-inch XBR 65 X900H. Let's see if we can find one of those. And this is going to be an infrared device. Search the database. Sony. Looks like they have the exact same one. It's going to go ahead and go with the default buttons and commands. Leave it as the default for now. And looks like it's downloading some sort of driver it needs for the Sony TV. Okay, looks like it added that. It took about a minute. I sped that up, of course, but it took about a minute to download that. Click complete. And it says not configured. For creating an activity, you need to complete this device's power settings and source configuration. Power state, turn off when not in use, yes. Power command, separate power on and power off. And we're going to say yes, that it responded okay. I would expect a screen here that says, okay, configured complete, but I guess I'm going to go back. Well, not as intuitive as I thought it would be, because I thought I would see here where it says turn on has been set, would be set, because we just told it. Okay, so now we have the TV power settings figured out. That was definitely not intuitive. It should have just automatically brought those power settings across for a fairly new television. It found the TV in there in its database. It downloaded the drivers for it, or whatever they call those. But it did not configure the power settings, so it was not very intuitive. The language that it used wasn't very well understood. I had to really think about what they were asking. And then so I finally got that figured out, and now I went on to add my Pioneer stereo in there, which is an older Pioneer stereo, but it also, again, found that exact model in there, gave me two choices. I downloaded the first one and installed it, and the very same thing happened to me. It says I need to configure the power settings. Why would I need to do that? It downloaded the configuration. It should know the power on and off. It should know how that works. So having to configure that was a little disconcerting. Also, I had a hard time trying to get the infrared placed in the right place, so I ended up placing it kind of like right in the center of the receiver here, and it seems to work fine as it's reflecting off of the glass, but it's not working great wherever I put it. Like this one down here that I put for the Harmony actually reflects off the glass and connects to any infrared device in here, no problem whatsoever. Matter of fact, I can have it way back in there and it seems to broadcast that infrared signal pretty well. So not broadcasting the signal very well coming out of this. I'm not sure why. But this is an older receiver, and so maybe that's probably part of what the problem is, but I finally got it to work. I just put it right in the center. It seems to reflect fine, and it broadcasts the infrared command properly. So now I have the TV, I have the Apple TV, and I have the stereo as devices that are already in there, and they seem to be powering on properly, and now I just need to go in and configure an activity. So that'll be the next step. We'll see how the activities go. I have the Apple 4K TV, I have the Sony TV, and the Pioneer receiver as devices. So now I want to add an activity to turn that all on so that I can watch the Apple TV. So it looks like add activity, I'm going to use the Apple Bluetooth, the Sony TV, and the Pioneer. Click Next. I don't need to switch input on the Apple TV. I do need to switch to the Apple TV 4K on the Sony. That was kind of nice. And I need to switch input. Okay. TV is turning on. Turn on the Pioneer receiver. And it says all devices are powered on. Next. Yes. Select the device you want the remote volume buttons to control. Pioneer. Which device should other remote buttons control besides volume? Apple TV. Yep. And complete. Oh, wants me to name it. This is Watch TV. Everything is now turned off. Let's grab the Sofabaton. It's been sitting over here charging. It says it's syncing 50%. Okay, so the only thing I have showing up on here is one activity right now, and it's called Watch TV. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. It turned on everything. Looks like it turned on the receiver to the CDR, turned on the television to the right input, and the Apple TV is up and going. Let's take a look at that. And now let's just see. Yep. Looks like I can navigate just like I thought I should be able to, so that's a good sign. So far, that's really great. Although I don't like not having my lights turned on. Okay. How's the back button work? Oh. Okay. Okay, that worked. Back, back. Oh, good. I thought maybe I was going to have to reach my hand all the way up here to hit the back button, but there's also a button right here that I can use that's a back button. So it seems to work out pretty good. Everything's kind of nice and ergonomically right there. So I think I can really get used to that. I don't know when I'm going to have to hit that button. I thought it was way up there, but it looks like it's pretty good. So I'm pretty pleased so far about how this is working out. Turn the volume up. It's turning the volume up.
Under this.
All right.
Wait.
Okay. So far, so good. Now, what if I want to turn all this off? Just hit the off button up here, I'm assuming. And everything goes off. That's pretty intuitive. Looks like the remote stays on. I like that it's nice and backlit here. This is actually really nice. The remote feels really good in my hand. I like the way the buttons, they're very nice to touch, easy to find. I can just like feel my way around. And that back button right there is very nice to have. It's very intuitive. So yeah, so far so good. A little bit tough to configure everything the way I wanted it to in the beginning. It wasn't very intuitive to me, but once I kind of got used to their UI and what words they were using to describe things, then I can kind of figure things out that way. It wasn't too tough. So there we have it. Okay, I think this is going to be a wrap for this first video. I'll probably do some other ones on the Sofabaton X1 as I learn a little bit more about it. I want to see how it might integrate into other things about maybe trying out the iOS shortcuts and things like that that might be able to integrate with my lights and some things like that. But in conclusion, I think for the most part, I actually like the remote. I think it's very promising. Can it fully replace the Logitech Harmony remote hub system? I'm not sure about that just yet. I think the jury's out, and I'll have to do a little bit more research to see how that pans out or not. I think it does start to fill the gap that Logitech Harmony has left behind, and I do believe that it's a promising remote. It has a sleek design. I like the backlit buttons that it has on there are really nice. It feels ergonomically correct in my hand. My thumb can go easily right where I want it to go, and I love the fact that the back button is really close and nearby. I was really worried that at first it was going to be way up high and I was going to have to reach for it, but it actually seems to work out really well, at least for activity that I set up, which was just to watch the Apple TV 4K. As far as the setup goes, I think it wasn't very intuitive for me. The language that it used towards like provisioning and some things like that seemed a little off, and just it didn't find my Sony TV and my Pioneer buttons. So it went out, it found the device, it seemed to download the drivers. I would assume the drivers that controlled that device would have had the right power configuration to press the button, but it made me go configure the power on and the power off and what was the source and things like that that I thought should have been part of whatever it downloaded in that driver. So that was a little bit odd and off, unless there was something really not intuitive at all that I completely missed. I had to go back and delete some out, start over again, try it one more time, added it back in, and went through the same process again. And again, it still didn't work. I had to configure the power on and off for basically all the devices. So there's something not right there, or maybe I'm completely missing something, but my first impression is that wasn't very intuitive. The rest of it, the activity setting up seemed like it was super intuitive. You just simply go through the process of, adding the devices in there, what input you want them on, and that was it. So some of the more advanced things I haven't got into yet, but I'll continue to explore the remote more and understand what more of the advanced configuration options are. I have to admit, Logitech Harmonies wasn't the most intuitive at first either. It took me some time to figure it out, but once I figured it out, then it seemed like it was very intuitive to me. So maybe I'll give this a little bit more time. It'll become a little bit more intuitive to me, especially as I start getting into more of the advanced configuration things, like trying to configure it to my smart home and turn on some lights and turn off some lights. And hopefully I can get Siri to turn on an entire activity and turn off an entire activity like I have with the Logitech Harmony right now. So other than that, I think it's a great remote. I'm looking forward to exploring it a little bit more and understanding a little bit more how it works. Sofabaton currently has a 10% sale going on Amazon. And if you check out my description below in the video, there's also a link. You can get an additional 10% off for a total of 20% off, which is a good deal, but it also expires in the near future. So that's all I have for this video. We'll be doing some more videos in the future on the Sofabaton X1. Thank you. Have a great day.